What's up? This is Jordan Gray from Half Lit and Dope Living TV.
Hey, this your boy Don Ritchie representing the Midwest 219 Stand Up.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Lamar Tate.
This is your girl, Monifa.
Hey, what up? It's your man Dave Hollister from Blackstreet.
You know what this is right here. This Trigger Tretch in the building.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is your boy Jason Weaver. And whenever I'm back home in the Chi, I'm checking out Dope Living TV.
Hey, it's your girl, Adina Howard, and you're watching Dope Living TV, live with Greg Gray and the crew.
Hey, what's up? It's your boy Greg Gray. This is Dope Living TV Live. Let's start off by saying the views that are expressed on this Dope Living TV Live are not necessarily the views of Dope Living TV or its affiliates. Tonight, man, we want to talk about something that's very prevalent. That's I'm quite sure it happens to a lot of people. We just don't talk about it that much, and that's preserving and maintaining mental health. We want to talk about mental health awareness. The things that make us, that trigger mental health, and what we can do about it, and how we can help others who are experiencing mental health breakdown. We want to talk about that and have a intelligent discussion about it, man. Because some things we don't talk about that really needs to be talked about. And we here at Dope Living TV, we try to make sure that we are up on everything. So we want to talk about that, and we got a guest that's going to come on and help us talk about it. I don't Maurice said he won't be on tonight, guys. That's okay. We try to be as transparent as we can here on the show, and we go through things just like everyone else, all right? And I shared a story with my guest earlier about things that something that happened to me last year concerning my mental health, and she actually gave me some counseling as we were talking. And I thought about it, and I'm like, she's right what she's saying. It's really important at the end of the day to check on ourselves as well. We need to check ourselves and see what's going on with us. It's cool to help other people. It's cool to try to be there for everyone. Hey, Shayna Gordine, hope everything is well. It's cool to be there with everything, for everyone. But what about us? What about our well-being? And I want to, since the rest of my guests aren't here yet, I want to go ahead and get this started. Okay, everybody, please. Well, Gina just made it. Gina.
Hey.
Hey, man, how are you?
Why can't I hear you?
You can't hear me? I don't know.
Why?
Log on again.
I hear nothing.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. What's up, Annette?
Hey, Greg.
How are you?
Hey, Annette.
Hey, Gina.
Annette.
Gina.
Yeah. I invited Miss Annette Harris to come through and shed a little light on this subject so that we could get more clarity. It's great that we talk about it, but someone who knows more about it than we do, we don't have a problem putting them on here. And,
I love bringing on professionals.
Yeah. So welcome to the show, Nat.
Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be here with you, especially talking about something as important as mental health. I'm like a rabbit in the brow patch. I love this. I love this discussion because it needs to be talked about.
It needs to be talked about. And that's one thing that we don't, we've had a lot of shows, and I think we talked about it 2 or 3 years ago, but we didn't talk about it in depth. We talked about it amongst ourselves and with some of the audience members, but I think it really needs to be talked about so that there can be some light shed on this this issue, this problem. And Gina knows, because Gina was the one that I called when I discussed it with you earlier.
Okay.
I had a mental breakdown last year. I got to the house and everything just, I mean, you could be financially stable. Life is going great. Household is good. Everything paid for and this and that. But all of a sudden, I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm shaking, I'm crying, and I'm just losing it. How does that? And Gina, you remember when I told you what happened to me, right?
I remember.
And my sister was there for me. She just said, Greg, just because I couldn't even do the show. I couldn't even talk without stuttering, without hesitating. I couldn't do any of that. Okay, Gina held it down for me, and she called me every day to make sure I was good. But Annette, how does something like that happen? What can we be? Do we know signs so that we can help ourselves?
That's a great question. I think I'll say this first. You know how we're on an airplane, everybody, and we get those instructions? I know y'all not listening to them all the time. Y'all doing y'all thing. Y'all may get yourself set, for your flight. Maybe you have your earphones in or whatever. But it's a few words that they say is very important, not only for that flight, but for your life. Put your own oxygen mask on first. Those are key words that we all have to remember. I'm telling you, because life, what they say, life be lifing. And so things come across, and sometimes we don't realize the pressure that we're under. And because we don't realize that, sometimes that's how things can kind of grab us, sometimes take us under. Some of us, we fighting back, but it's some things, we have to understand that. Okay. And, I can look on here. You mentioned about how Gina called you every day to make sure you're okay. Right. That's the type of person that she is. She's always reaching out, always, checking on people or whatever and making sure they're good. A lot of people that we come in contact are like that, birds that flock together or whatever, of the same feather. So you're going to know that people love seeing after somebody else, or they've been put in the position where they have to see about somebody else. But they're so busy taking care of everybody else that they didn't put their own
take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And they can't breathe. Now they can't breathe. You didn't help everybody else. Now you didn't help them babies. You didn't help them spouses. But now you can't breathe.
That's different.
And it's so much that goes into that, whether it is whatever it is you're dealing with, maybe that was a little bit overwhelming for you, but you just trudge on through, right? And sometimes you're not necessarily looking at that situation as something that could overwhelm you. You're just going through the motions. Hey, I can do this with my eyes closed, whatever. But you have to realize that you're going to have to stop, because it could overwhelm you. It could take you over. Now, I'm big on telling people you have to own your feelings, own where you're at, own what you are feeling, how that situation made you feel, how that person made you feel. Know your triggers, know your warning signs. You have to know yourself.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, Annette. In your field, is there a certain profile that you see that's more prone to mental illness?
Good question.
That's an excellent question. No, well, you know what? I wouldn't say that. And you all, you know what? Give me a minute. Forgive me, because I'm sure you can hear that background.
Don't worry about it. Okay.
Okay. All right. I was going to go and close them windows. All right. But yeah, in terms of seeing like a set group of people, is that what you mean?
Yes.
Okay. Well, yes and no. Yes, because you can probably sit and list those who, the leaders, those who are always in charge, whether it's on a corporate job or not. You know, they have that headstrong and they're gonna get it done. You know, a lot of us are like that. A lot of us are like that. So that's why you have to be careful. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're not saying don't get the job done and don't slack off or anything like that, but you have to find that balance. Okay.
That's the key.
That's kind of hard though sometimes. So let me ask you this, Annette. Years ago, there was a stigma about mental health. Has mental health changed over the years?
I think the approach to it has, in a good sense. I think the tide has changed, and I'll tell you why. We see now, okay, so what do we do on a daily basis? We're either looking at TV, sports, or whatever. We see the entertainment stars, the sports stars, we see them all, right? What are they doing now? They're becoming more transparent about what they're dealing with. You see, like for instance, Naomi Osaka, I always use her as an example. Baby girl said, look, I got to step away. This is my mental health. But it wasn't easy for her to do that. She had to get to the point. You know, here you are, young tennis star, and you know, out there, and she's slamming it, right? But then after every time she plays, you have to go and do a press conference. That was so much on her, that young mind, and it was just overwhelming her. So she got to the point, okay, let me step back. And then you always going to have these naysayers and folks that's trying to put you down and talk about you behind those keyboards, you know. And so that works on that mental health as well. Look at Lizzo. Come on, I'm gonna pull out some people. Look at Lizzo. You know, she before that lawsuit, all that lawsuit stuff, they were constantly talking about this woman's weight and body shaming and things like that. And then when the lawsuit, those individuals tried to sue her, that didn't make it any better. It just added on. And she got to the point, she put up a few posts. I'm done. I'm backing out of this. It was just overwhelming for her.
But you know what, Annette? We have this preconceived notion that people with money shouldn't have issues.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Preconceived bad notion, thinking that they shouldn't have issues. But that's why I say the tide is changing, because they are taking it back. They're taking themselves back. They're not going to allow the world to paint this picture that they don't have any issues. Look, they're going to say, I'm having issues and this is what it is. And so that helps us who are watching them. Maybe our favorites or something, our favorite player, our favorite musician or artist. And I'm like, oh, you dealt with that? Okay. Now, that's why reality TV shows are so popular, because people see themselves in reality TV, people doing this or whatever. That's why they're so popular, became popular, years ago or whatever. Tasha Cobb, gospel artist, can sing, she can sing a song up and down, tear it up and put it back together again, right? Worship leader. Every time she left the church house, she went home, closed the drapes, laid down in the bed for days, suffering from depression. She didn't really know what was happening with her, right? And so then it got to the point, I think she was living with her cousin. She wasn't married then. She was living with her cousin. Her cousin was her roommate. She's like, look, I'm getting up out of here. You too depressing for me. The cousin literally left.
Wow.
and didn't want to deal with that. But then she realized she needed to get some help. So things can, you have this, she's on top of the mountain, if you will. You know what I'm saying? People, Tasha Cobb this, Tasha Cobb that. They buying her music. They singing her songs. She was the thing. But she was dealing with that depression. And
you know what? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's as I talked to you earlier, everything could be going right. Everything could be going great. And, I was just talking to, Gina, actually, because I throw a lot on Gina, I'm telling you, and she has a lot going on
Yeah.
herself. But everything was going good. I mean, I was just talking to Gina. I think that day, Gina, am I right? And
Mm-hmm.
I went to the house and I just lost it. Everything was just
Mm-hmm.
gone, and I was just panicking.
Mm-hmm.
I shook. I was crying. Got on the plane, went wherever I went, got off the plane and started walking. I didn't even know where I was at walking.
He went ghost.
I was
He
gone.
went
I didn't even.
ghost. I
Yeah.
was coming to the show, and he wouldn't be here, and I had to run the show. I didn't know what was happening. But let me
Mm.
ask you something, because it's so interesting that you brought that up. I went through a depression years and years ago with my first marriage fell apart, and I had been with my husband since I was a sophomore in high school.
Oh wow.
But I didn't know that I was in a depression. So
Mhm.
how do you identify it? I didn't know
Yes.
until, oh my gosh, 10, 15, 20 years later, when I look back, I said, I was depressed. And even when I went through it with my late husband, when he passed away, I
Mhm.
was still functioning. I was going to work every day, and I was doing the things that I thought it was normal to me. But
Mhm.
even looking back then, I realized years later that I was going through a depression. So how do you recognize it?
Does it
Was it
just
that
hit you?
right? Go ahead. Was that your only question,
That was
Greg?
it. Yeah, I mean, does it just hit, in addition to Gina's question? I mean, how do you know? I mean, what are signs? Because does it just hit you, or is it something that you could? I don't know. I don't even know. I don't even know to this
We
day
don't know.
how that happened with
Right,
me.
right, right. Yeah, you know what? It starts off going back to you have to know yourself. So you have to know what your triggers are. So but Greg, you said you just hopped on the plane or whatever, and then you got off and it just like hit you all at once. But then if you would take time and go back, like now,
Mhm.
and think about some things that probably were happening before that airplane ride. Was it something that was uh, overwhelmed you, or you
Uh,
thought that, okay, I gotta do this by this certain time, or if I don't, then this person is relying on me, or whatever, whether it's your family or whatever? Was it something? Because see, you could be like a functioning alcoholic,
right.
right?
Mm,
Just like you
mm,
mentioned, Gina, you were going through the motions,
mm-hmm.
not really realizing it. But sometimes you go through those motions because you have to. I don't know if you like suddenly became the breadwinner and everything, fell on you. You know what I mean? To after the divorce or after the spouse passed. Did stuff fall on you? What was the responsibilities at that time? So those are the things you gotta have to look at. You know what I mean? To see, because stuff could be piling up. You don't even realize it's piling up.
Right.
Well, you know what?
Right.
I see. I understand what you're saying now. Of course, stuff fell on me, but we were empty nesters, so I didn't with my late husband. So I didn't have to worry about. I got the kids. I got to make sure I'm strong for them.
Mm-hmm.
I ramped myself up in my head that I got to keep going. I
Yeah.
got to keep going, and I had to keep pushing. And so I was doing it. I was going through the motions, not even if. And I look back, and those years for me, they're like a cloud. They're like
Mm.
a cloud. I can't even remember some of the days, what I
Okay.
did, what I ate. I can't even remember those things. It's like my
Yeah.
brain kind of shut down. And I
Mm-hmm.
know your brain does shut down when it comes to pain.
Yep.
And it was like I was just pushing myself like a robot.
Yeah. Yeah. Your brain wouldn't
That,
ghost on you.
yeah, that's different. That is so different. Look, Shayna says, I think part of the first step is acknowledging depression is a thing. So many
Mm-hmm.
people from back in the day are taught to just deal with bad circumstances as a natural part of life. Many people don't put a label on these emotions. They just are what they are, aka life.
Yep.
I agree with that.
I totally agree with that, Shayna. That's on point. And what is it, especially in that African American community? We don't talk about that stuff.
It's something wrong with
Didn't
you.
used
What
to,
you
right.
mean?
It's a
Suck it
stigma.
up.
It's a stigma. It's people will talk bad about you even if you mention or call somebody mentally ill. People want to talk about you. Okay, nobody wants to hear that.
Oh, she
You know, but
crazy.
yeah,
Right.
that's what they
I
put.
was just
They
getting
put
ready to say
little
that.
text.
That was our word. The word was the C word. You don't want to use that. And if anybody came to you and said, maybe you should go to a therapist, I ain't crazy. What you talking about?
Right.
That's the first thing in their head. I mean, but if
Therapists, black people.
what was that?
I said a therapist. You think I'm gonna tell somebody I went to a therapist or a psychiatrist? No, come on. You know?
And we're also our people. We don't like to share our business. Okay, we're private. So what am I going talking to some therapist for?
Right.
Tell me my business?
Oh my gosh, I had somebody to say that to me that was going through something with their marriage. And I said, why don't you go talk to a counselor? I'm not sitting down and telling some stranger all my business.
Gina, that might have been me telling you that.
It wasn't you, but we do get that. But you know what? That was our upbringing.
Yep.
Oh, you don't talk about things outside of these four walls. You don't take our business outside that. We were brought up with that.
Yes.
It's brainwashed.
Yep.
But all the while, we're hurting. You know, we're hurting inside, but we don't know it. You know,
we don't know.
And you made a great point, Annette, how we continuously do things, but we're not checking in with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We are not checking in with ourselves. We want to do so much for other people. Like Gina does stuff for everybody. And I tell Gina, and I'm probably wrong for telling her this too, because Gina has said before, okay, you know, she got so overwhelmed with this Distinguished Authors Guild where she says, I'm not doing it no more. Okay. And I'm like, yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And she digs right back into it. But instead of me saying, well, what can I do to support you right now so they can take some of that off of you? Maybe that's one thing that you don't need to have on you. You know, how can people do that? How can people support others when they can, you know, if they can notice something's different? What's something that they can do to support?
Well, first of all, you're going to have compassion for people. That's just number one. But in that respect, and I think that, I guess I can say this, the older I get, the more compassion. And, you know, God has just opened up my eyes to so many things now, you know, and it just amazes me because I'm like, okay, I'm looking and I'm always, now my sister, she will tell you, you're on the phone and she's, you know, maybe sharing some stuff that happened, maybe upset her, and I'll get quiet. And she says, stop analyzing me over there. But I just, it's just in me because I can, you know, I hear more than what you're telling me. And a lot of times God has given me stuff, you know, to be able to, you know, help that individual and share with them, you know, how to redo some stuff or to help them. But yeah, you have to have that compassion and then knowing that, you know, that person is human just like I am. Right. I shared this last night. I had a totally different podcast last night. And we actually were talking about men and their emotions and how they don't show them, how they don't cry and all of that. Right. So, yeah, right. Okay. So I mentioned about how a few months ago, my husband and I started this podcast called A Marriage Temperature Check, right?
Yeah.
This is how it started. One Saturday, we were going somewhere, taking care of some business, and we got into a disagreement, right? And I'm going, why did you da, 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 da? And he's like, well, you know, my husband is very mild mannered. Anybody know him? And so then at one point, the Holy Spirit said, be quiet. Look at his face. Check me. So, Gina, I was into that disagreement, honey. Holy Spirit said,
"You gonna have to I'm gonna have to go and give my husband a hug and a kiss because we just did this like right before the show, and he he know I don't like generic foods. They have a lot of sodium, and so I don't buy generic. I haven't in years, and when we first met, I had to teach him, don't bring no generic, and so he brought some and I was just. We don't eat generic food. But you know what? He did take his time out. He got off of work and went to the store. So you're making me feel real bad right now.
And you should. And you should.
And he said you should. But the Holy Spirit had me to check. I mean, he checked me because I'm going on about, my point of the conversation or the disagreement. And my husband was real quiet over there. And I really, he was like, this man is under stress. He's under pressure. Right. I saw that. I picked that up. And I'm like, and I kind of carried it with me through the night. And I was in morning devotion. I'm like, okay, Lord, what do I do? Because one thing about me, I'm always going to take time out and examine myself. What could you have done different? What could you have done better? That's just me. And the Holy Spirit was telling me some things to do, but he also said, I believe you all need to start this podcast because marriage temperature, you're checking the temperature of that marriage, on it. You have to check it on a daily basis.
I love that.
Regular basis. Okay. Because things could change. You change. We age, situations change, our finances and all of that, but we still need to check that temperature in that marriage and make sure everything is good. Right. So that, in a sense, that helped me, to be able to look at him and to see, what was going on. Because you're going to have, you're two different people, right? You got married.
Yes.
You may have one that's more talkative and do more. That would be me. Than anything. and my husband's more quiet, more reserved, right? And so if I'm dominating that conversation or that disagreement, I keep saying conversation, dominating that disagreement, I'm not hearing him. And so I want to be able to hear him because I don't want him to be overwhelmed. I don't want him to be stressed. I don't want him to go into a depression or anything like that. So I need to be able to be that listening ear and be there. I mean, and vice versa. He needs to be there for me as well. This ain't lopsided now, so we need to be there for each other and understand, not only know yourself, but then you have to know that individual you're in that relationship with. And you can kind of pick up on some stuff. And even if it's a friendship, you pick up on some stuff. I mean, I know Greg probably reached out to you first, but then you kept reaching out to make sure he was okay. You know what I'm saying? So we can't leave people there. I just, my heart just goes out to people. You just can't leave them there, especially if they reach out to you,
She definitely did not leave me there. She did not leave me there. She checked on me every day. Beautiful. And she even told me, no, you're not ready to come back. She even told me that one time, and I thought I was, but I wasn't. It got that bad. Let me ask you, Annette, do you, we're talking with Annette Harris about mental health and how we can know somebody needs that help and how we can help them. Let me ask you about social media. Do you think social media helps or hurts mental health?
Honestly, it does hinder it. Because you have individuals, like I mentioned earlier, behind these keyboards, and they are typing out hate. They're typing out, many, they're trying to tear you down. So you have to realize and understand, everybody's doing the same thing now. Just about everybody got a podcast. Everybody got a, radio show, you got the TikTok, and everybody's trying to make themselves famous or make money, right? So we're all in this, everybody in the same bucket. And I don't think that sometimes can be pressure for some people. Some people don't know how to handle that. Let me just go in here and do what I need to do. You know what I'm saying? And you interact with people, whatever, but don't let it overwhelm me. We need that dopamine hit, right? when we're on social media, because people love for you to talk about them. They love to see themselves, right?
That's true.
Yeah, and so you have to be careful of that. So in a sense, it can hinder us, right? But then if you have different platforms like yours, or Gina, whatever, you trying to push out, the good, on the social media, I think that is important. It helps. When I come on every day and try and do a little discussion, I'm trying to encourage people,
Yeah.
download it from Christ. I'm always, okay, what you want me to say today, what have you. And I believe he gives me things to say and to help individuals. But, sometimes I need it back. I need that encouragement too,
But you know what people don't realize, and what people are not saying, is everybody is not cut out for social media.
True.
It's a platform that everybody is on. A majority of the people are on, but it's not for everybody.
It's not. You're right. You're right, sis. And you can tell that it's not for everybody, because you unfortunately get those individuals that will take everything to heart. And then unfortunately they end up taking their lives, or doing something else, to somebody else, because they couldn't take what the people were saying about them. Yeah, there has to be some kind of maturity level there, which is why I think they try to have, I don't know what the ages are. They're telling you for your children to have accounts and all that stuff. They're pretty serious about that. But you're right. I don't think everybody can handle it. I really don't.
My son went into a depression when he was in college, and he totally wiped his Facebook account out. Okay.
Wow.
Dealing with college and dealing with everything else, he totally wiped his Facebook account out, and I think that helped him. I really think it helped him, and he was better after that. But one thing that I want to find out is that, okay, again, and I keep going back to my situation. Everything was going well. Everything in life was going well. Is that normal to just all of a sudden snap like that?
But it wasn't all of a sudden, though. There was some. That's why I told you earlier. If you go back now and look at some things,
right.
There was something there.
It didn't surface.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So
very interesting.
Maybe you go back to elementary and go on getting to know myself. Okay, does this tick me off? What does this do to me if I do that, or if some person say that? You may have to go back and ask yourself questions. You know what I'm saying? And be real. Own your feelings. Be real. How that made you feel.
I should have went to Annette instead of going to that therapist, man.
But I think back to the conversation earlier where you said the young lady's cousin packed up and left because it was too much for her.
Yeah.
She didn't recognize it, but I remember when my sister, she was at Dominic's for 28 years.
Okay.
And all the Dominic stores shut down. That's right. And for a whole year, she couldn't find another job. And I started seeing her going into a depression. She didn't. I kept saying, "You're okay. I'm okay." But I saw her she was different. And so I started, calling her up. Let's go to breakfast. Let's go have coffee, just to do something with her, because I saw it, but she didn't saw it. So my question to you, Annette, is, do people on the outside see it first before the actual person that's going into depression?
Not all the time, but as in your case, you were able to see it. Now, and I'll say this too, because sometimes, how can I say this?
However you want to.
I'm grateful, and I'm sure your sister probably is grateful too, that you recognized it and you said something. Because see, we could see it, but we may not want to say, "Oh, I think something's going on with them, him or her, or what have you." You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You want things to still be, the same or whatever.
That's
But know
true.
that there's something different there. So I was going to say this earlier. You know how we were growing up or whatever, and some people in their families and they get together, have gatherings, and then you got this one relative who kind of like a little, doing their own thing. How about I say it like that? And they off in the corner, and somebody go like, "Mama, what's wrong with Uncle such and such?" "Oh, he all right, baby. Just leave him alone." No, Uncle such and such needed help.
Right.
But then that's when you go and talk about how, in our community, we didn't really recognize getting help like that. We didn't, because see, if you stop and literally say there's something going on with that person, I think that she's going into a depression, then something has to be done. Something needs to be done. But if you just step back and say, no, maybe she all right, maybe it's just me thinking that.
But
You know
see,
what I mean? I think we unfortunately take that last, thought to do. We don't really want to try and go out and help because we don't want to believe nothing's wrong.
See, people, this is so insightful. People, when you see a person, I don't want to say cowering, but to themselves, not saying anything, a lot of people shy away from them, and because they can be happy one minute and shy away. A lot of people stay away from them because they don't want to upset them or anymore or feel their wrath or anything like that. But this person probably really needs help.
Yeah.
Probably just needs to talk to someone.
Yeah. A lot of times that's all it really takes. People don't realize that therapy and that counseling. Because when you get in there, that a good therapist is going to help you peel back those layers. And then you're going to go and connect stuff to, that's when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
Not making up nothing. I'm talking about something that really actually transpired.
Yeah.
When you think back. Think back. But that's what we don't do. We don't reflect. We don't think back to what happened, what might have caused this.
Yes.
We don't do that.
Yep.
Until it's too late.
Yeah, that's true.
Until it's too late. And then I think, Gina, before when I was asking Shana to come on, she gave me a little session, honestly. And I'm in that little short piece. So I'm saying that to say, hey man, if you guys got questions and want to find out some things about yourself, hit up Annette. All right, she is an award-winning author, by the way. Okay, she is an author.
Thank
all right, Distinguished Author Guild. She won it twice. Okay, she is an author. But y'all hit up Annette, okay? Because it didn't take 5 minutes for her to dig into me. Okay, for real.
Right.
Via text. And
but
that's a good thing.
I have to tie this in though, because Annette went through trauma.
Yes.
And so I think she really comes from, I know she does. She comes from not just the education that she received in this field, but also from experience. So talk about that, Annette, because that book reflects on your therapy.
Yes. Oh man. Well, I will tell you that my experiences led me into this field of psychology and mental health. I didn't realize it, but that's what led me there. So when my brother, my family went through my brother being murdered, you want to talk about, I went through so much trauma. I had PTSD. Probably, depression, I went through all the stages of grief. But at that time, I didn't realize that's what was happening to me. I didn't know. I didn't have that knowledge. I was, young then when it happened. But I knew, man, if you didn't have the same blood running through your veins as me and my family, I didn't trust you.
Yeah.
And so I went through that period, not trusting people and, thinking what happened to my brother was going to happen to me or the rest of my family, what have you. I was traumatized. I literally could not go to sleep at night without the TV and the light on. It was rough for me. And so I couldn't grasp, you know, what had happened to him and why would somebody come and take, I mean, he wasn't out there gang banging. He wasn't out there doing stuff he ain't got no business doing. He was actually working a second job to put himself through school. And my brother was saved. He was a child of God. And so that hurt all the more, you know, my only brother. So that took me through that trauma, you know, really took me through. And I really thought that I had gotten, I don't want to say over it. I really thought I had gotten through it.
That's a true feeling, though.
You know, until I wrote the book. I'm thinking I'm writing the book, you know, for somebody else. It was
for you. Wow.
It was first to me. And, you know, I said, you know, God, you know, you got such a sense of humor. But the book allowed me to really learn more about myself. It really did.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful that God kept pushing me to write it. You're like, right. I ain't writing. What you want me to write about? And then he told me, I'm like, after all this time, you want me to write about something like that? But he said, grief does not have an expiration date and people need to know how to handle it, how to deal with it. And, you know, he wanted me to show how far he had brought me. And, you know, everybody goes through stuff and somebody may have experienced the same thing or worse, you know, that I've experienced. But, you know, he wanted me to write it out so that we can help somebody. And that's my whole goal. Just doing what God told me so I can help somebody.
And I think it did help a lot of people. Glenna says, I watched a bad relationship send my sister into one 30 years ago. When she finally came out, her personality was altered. So mental illness can change your personality.
I'm an example.
That's a great example. The young lady just mentioned that about her her sister. Oh yeah, it can change some stuff. My God, and you will you start connecting stuff. Okay, I did this probably because of, you know, what I experienced, you know, in the past or whatever. But yeah, it can alter personalities and all of that. Yes,
that's true. Yes,
now,
it can.
Now, with us putting ourselves out there as personalities, with that change, I mean, we have to be different, you know. And I think maybe, you know, as I spoke with you earlier, that change, that transition that we have to be this person here and that person when we're on the air, that can be taxing as well, you know. Trying to change that up. How can we, as personalities, as public figures, how can we balance that? How do we balance that?
Ooh, that's a great question. So, you know, of course, it's gonna take. It's not a one-time thing. You really have to work on yourself. I do myself every morning, Gina. When I'm in there putting on my makeup, I do my I am statements, my positive affirmation statements. I talk to myself, y'all.
Hey,
girl, you worthy. You know, you were loved. You know, so you encourage yourself, you know, in that respect. I'm not waiting for nobody to tell me.
There you go.
You know, and I believe that's important. And of course, you know, I don't know, you know, the listeners or whatever, but you really have to have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. You have to.
Yes, you do.
Because
that's what pulled me out.
I believe it. You know, because you get to a point, sometimes you go through things and things maybe kind of overwhelm you. Like, okay, God, I can't do nothing about this. Can you please handle this? You know, so develop that relationship with him and make sure, oh my God, make sure you have a prayer life. You have to.
Yeah. And that's
because you're going to be dealing with so many things coming at you. And you're not going to be able to catch every ball.
And that was part of another question. How do you cope? But when everything gets overwhelming, that's who you turn to. I think we spoke about that when you and I were talking, you know.
Yes.
You got to pray. You got to pray to God, man. And you know, and it's been told to me all of my life, God is not going to put too much on you that you cannot bear. All right.
That's it.
And if you live with that thought in mind, that should take care of all of the rest. You know, when you're feeling that way, go to him and give it to him and know that it's done.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's
so
right.
that's those are some of the things that got me through talking to Gina, and today talking to you has really opened up another window. So I'm gonna be reflecting tonight as well.
Okay. Okay. And
Glennis,
you just said something that was important. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
But you just said something that's important. We have to make sure we surround ourselves with individuals, like-minded individuals. So, I'm not going to go and connect up and have a whole group of friends that ain't doing nothing and they tearing folks down. What, you know what I'm saying? So surround yourself with like-minded individuals. I think that's important. And that's whether they have the same blood running through the veins or just friends or associates.
Yes. I'm glad you said that part too.
Yeah.
Glenn said, I read a book on Michael Jackson, and he said that as a celebrity, people want to join him in his loveliness, or I think loneliness. He wanted people to take him out. That was a typo, but he wanted people to join him in his loneliness. Right? And D says,
misery loves company.
This is true.
Prayer and counseling, that's how he gets through it. D has gone through a lot in the past few months.
Okay.
So, I mean, prayers going out to everybody who's going through mental, I don't want to call it mental issues, because it can't.
You know what I like to say? I like to say
please.
The absence of mental health.
Okay, there you go. The absence of mental health. That's it. Yeah. I mean, we all, you said it yourself, we all go through something, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we don't look back and find out what it is, along with that prayer, then we're going to get stuck, okay? And I think I got stuck that day because I was gone. I didn't know what was up. I didn't know what was up.
I have one last question, and I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry. I just jumped in your conversation.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. I know this question is probably on a lot of the viewers' minds, because this has always been on my mind when I think about mental health. How do people get to the point where they just lost all sanity? They're out on the streets walking. That's part I've never understood. How do you know that you're getting to that point?
Please help, because that's what I did. Please help.
Right. You know what? I've been meaning to say this throughout this broadcast, and every time I get ready to say it and I say something else. But you know what I think is key that we're going to have to look at? May not want to do it. You may have to look at your family history. And now it may not be as easily accessible to you, but you might have to do some digging. Because it could have come from, family before, generations before. You kind of look back at stuff and see, and then if you find it is in your family, then you need to, we're going to curse this stuff because it's not coming down, praying against that. But I think that's very important. Look at your family history. Look and see if, anyone dealt with anything, whether it was they became overwhelmed or depressed or what have you. And then look at, if you can find out what happened, what was the reason, what did they deal with that sent them that way?
And how did it turn out?
Yep. And how did it turn out?
I never thought about that. It's no different from when you have a history of diabetes or heart disease. I never thought about that.
Yep.
Right.
You take those precautions because it runs in the family.
Exactly. There it is right there.
Oh, wow. Glenn said, fight, faith, favor. You have to fight to hold on to your faith. Then remember, you have the favor of God. I've been in the hospital since May, still here fighting. Oh, my God. Glennis, I didn't know that. Glennis,
prayers to you, Glennis.
Wow.
Prayers to you.
Definitely
praying for you. Praying for you. Do not get depressed. Do not. Okay. Like you said, fight, faith, and favor.
That's
generational curses. Yeah. but yeah, that's interesting. I'm with you on that. You know, we always look back when we go to the hospital and somebody say, "Well, you got cancer." Well, was it in your family? You know, well, yeah, it's way back then, and it's not. But you never think about mental illness. What's
You
mental
don't
illness?
think about it. Yeah.
So
And I
thank you
think
for
we
that.
have to do that, guys. I mean, well, I'm seeing commercials now more than ever say, okay, you went to the hospital because you had a broken arm. Now, please check on your mental health. I'm seeing, hearing commercials and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
that's why we talked earlier. I'm saying I believe the tide is changing in that respect because people are becoming more and more aware. And why is that? I think a lot of that came after what? The pandemic, 2020. People
Oh
were,
man,
Awareness.
yes. I
you know what
mean,
I'm saying?
we were locked in. I mean,
Yeah.
we were locked in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
No
And
social life,
no
no
social life.
social
You couldn't go out.
interaction.
Mm-hmm. And then
Mm.
people would try to go out and do as normal. And I remember in Wisconsin or somewhere, some bars or something they had. These people were still trying to go back up in them bars because that's what they were
Yeah,
used to.
yeah,
And here you are, the government telling you stay inside. You were like, what? Huh? So that took a toll on you mentally. It took a toll on
yeah.
marriages and it's a whole lot of stuff happened from that. And then unfortunately people passing away and people not being able to say goodbye
Yeah,
to their loved
yeah,
ones. You couldn't go in the hospital. I mean, just imagine all that toll that it took
yeah,
on us mentally. So
yeah,
we got to take care of our mental health. That's
yeah.
without question.
This has been very interesting and enlightening. Like I said, I got a little
Yes.
bit before
Very
the show started.
enlightening.
Man,
Yeah.
that's something else. Annette, are you going to be at the Distinguished Authors Guild celebration?
I think I'm checking my dates. I keep looking. I got to check to make sure. But I want to be there. Like, it was beautiful last year, in Park Forest. So it was a whole lot closer. But I'm checking my
Closer
date.
than Vegas, huh?
That wasn't too bad.
Well, Vegas
That
was
wasn't bad
glitz
at
and
all.
glamour. The Park Forest was closer for a lot of the authors. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a fantastic event as well. I just wanted to make sure, if you got there, I just want to shake your hand and thank you for the conversation tonight, as well as the conversation before the show started, because I needed it. I needed it because just when we think, we could always say, when everyone asks, how you doing? Oh, I'm doing okay. A lot of times you're not,
Yep. That's so true.
And if you ask, tell somebody, well, this is going on, that going on. A lot of people don't want to hear, but if you, like you said, you surrounding yourself with like-minded people, they're going to want to hear it and they're going to want to be there for you.
Exactly.
So, thank you so much.
You know what I just heard, Greg? I don't want to cut you
that?
off. You know what I just heard in my spirit? Ask yourself how you're doing on a daily basis. Ask yourself.
Most
definitely. And be honest.
Well, you can't be.
Where I say to myself, I'm not feeling. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling myself. I'm not feeling upbeat. Yeah. And sometimes I just want to, just sit on the couch and don't move.
Right.
Hey, Natalie said she's saving your seat.
Miss Romance.
What you calling Miss Romance? Miss Nasty.
Miss Romance.
Miss Romance. The R stands for romance in her name.
It's great, but you can't. I can't thank God enough for the people that I'm surrounded with. Gina, Mo, Steve, Chris, because it's like you could be so high, but they're gonna bring you back down to earth and let you know, hey, look, you ain't all that. Okay, you great, but bring it down.
You need them friends.
For these 5 years, I have been brought way down. Okay, because and I needed to. I needed it. I needed it, and I can't thank this one right here enough for always being there for me through thick and thin. Even when she's mad at me, she's there for me. Okay, so I love Gina to death. She is my sister. I'm gonna cry in a minute. Okay, Annette, is there anything else that you want to tell people how they can reach you? Tell them about your books real quick.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But yes, I have been blessed to be a 2-time award-winning author of Surviving a Silenced Heartbeat. My first award was through DAG, and I'm so grateful for that. My books are available on my website at getcaughtinternetradio.com, and it's still on Amazon, even though some folks don't want to go and purchase over there, but it's still on Amazon, Walmart, Books A Million, Barnes and Noble. It's in quite a few places. It's still actually also, if you're in the Chicago area, DuSable Museum of African American History. My book is still in its bookstore, and
awesome.
blessed to be there. And also at the Chicago Public Library. I can't remember the actual division, but it's there as well. But yeah, and or you can reach out to me. I will personalize and send books out to you. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful what God is doing. I'm on social media. I'm on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at Get Caught Internet. So you shouldn't be able to miss me.
And we are grateful for you for coming through and hanging out with us and giving us this needed information, most definitely. Gina, what you got?
Man, you all come out and meet these wonderful authors. Come out and meet Annette. You know, you may need to talk to her on that day. Hopefully not, because we're going to have a wonderful time.
Right.
We're going to set a chair in the corner. We're going to set 2 chairs in the corner.
We're going to have a session there. Yeah. But you know what? You can find tickets on Eventbrite. All right, come on out and enjoy. Yes. Keyword, Eventbrite. On Eventbrite, keyword is Distinguished Authors Guild. A portion of the proceeds will go towards scholarships. Yes.
Let's get it. You know what? I wanted to say this real quick. When everything gets overwhelming for you, you know, if you don't have anybody to talk to, there's no such thing. You always got somebody to talk to. You got God to talk to. He hears you. If nobody else is listening, he's listening, okay? And we can't worry about why we're here, right? With what's going on right now. Let's worry about how we can get through it. You know, what can we do to get through all of this, okay? And support those people that are going through some type of mental illness. And mental illness is not a stigma, everybody, okay? It happens to just about everybody. It may not be as severe for some people, all right? But it happens, all right? We have to check on ourselves as well as we check on other people, okay? Let's heal ourselves. Let's be good to each other and be good to ourselves, all right? Thank you so much, Annette, for coming through and hanging out with us. And it was a very, 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 very very much needed conversation. And
it
you know,
really was.
We got to do this. We got to do this again.
Mm-hmm. I'm up for it. Just hit me up.
Thank you. I did. I told her, Gina, when I reached out to her, I said, I know it's short notice. And she said, don't worry about it. She said, I'm there. You know?
She talks about me being there for everybody. So is she.
Yeah. And we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate you, all right? So thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for the time. I enjoyed talking with you guys.
Thank you. This is Dope Living TV Live, man. We got to get out of here. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.